She's a real pain in the... Welcome to the Pain in My Cast podcast with yours truly, Cassandra Jean.
Just those hometown, I have 5 different kids, I have 7 baby daddies, I'm not sure the father of 2 of the kids, that's why we include everybody. You know, it's those type of white trash bash people.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me looking back even to consider an MLM a career. Like I said, I was trying to do it as a side hustle for like 1 week during COVID, and then I realized what an idiot I was. The women who are doing these MLMs, I think the ones at the top are A, making a lot of money, but B, they think it's a real career, which is concerning to me. I just don't know how long you can be, I don't know, an Arbonne or Mary Kay rep. Are you still going to be selling Mary Kay when you're 60 years old? Are you still going to be trying to sell Arbonne to 20-year-old women when you're 50? Like, will it still be around? She's a real pain in the... Welcome to the Pain in My Cast podcast with yours truly, Cassandra Jean. Hello, my lovelies. I am so proud of myself. Last week, I filmed an episode bashing MLMs for my own personal vendetta, and I decided that is not the direction I wanted to go. I actually follow a couple of girls on social media who I am inspired by that do sell products from Arbonne, and I decided I would rather hear their side of the story, their experience. So I am so excited to have my guest of today, Kelsey Garbe, like Barbie. She is an executive regional VP within Arbonne. She has built a huge team of girls, and I can totally see why with how inspiring she is on social media, with all the goals that she crushes for herself. And she absolutely is someone who lives what they preach and follows a very healthy lifestyle. So without further ado, I present to you Miss Kelsey Garbe.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I'm honored that you reached out to me out of every possible person that you probably could have reached out to that does network marketing. My name is Kelsey. I'm 25 years old. I live in Costa Mesa, California, so in Orange County. I've honestly been into health and fitness probably for the last 10 years. I remember the first time I ever stepped into a gym, I was 16 years old, and I don't know what it was, but I just fell in love with healthy living and working out and just the healthy living aspect of just that side of the industry. Obviously, I love working out, but I'm way more interested in nutrition and supplements, and being able to help other people feel their best and look their best is something that I'm extremely passionate about. So it's actually my second network marketing company. I started my first network marketing company when I was 16 years old, which definitely don't recommend that, but I never progressed with that company, and I was like, you know what, maybe this isn't something for me. So I took a step back and I went to community college, but I really didn't have any clear plan of what I wanted to do. I just knew that I loved helping people. I wanted to be able to make an income that I could live off of. I also wanted to be able to find something and make money from something that I'm passionate about. And I just didn't find that in school. So I got introduced to network marketing, and it kind of just like went from there once again.
Oh, that's so awesome. I didn't know that you went to community college, because I went to community college too. And I actually didn't even graduate because like nothing could hold my attention. Like I never was interested. So I don't know if you graduated either, but I feel like sometimes I think our paths end up in a different direction than we would even suspect. And I don't know if you're willing to mention who you worked for previously.
So where I grew up in Mission Viejo. It's a small little county, a little city in Orange County. And an Herbalife, I don't know what they call them, like smoothie shop opened up in my area. And I remember going in there and I was just amazed that you could make money selling products without really having to carry inventory and just do the things that honestly normal business people have to do when they start a business. And I was just really young, really naive. I wasn't coachable and I wasn't willing to put in the work. I was also 16 years old, honestly, like, let's be real. And it's not that there was anything wrong with that company. It just wasn't something that I felt like I was good at the time. And I had other priorities. And I ended up going to community college. I have my AA, but I never transferred. I never wanted to go and kind of continue my schooling just because I didn't want to get into debt and not find a job that excited me. I just didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to rack up all this student debt. I didn't want to have to rely on my parents to kind of put me through school just to come out of it and have no backup plan, which is kind of why I looked for other options. I was curious about just hair and makeup. I went through this drug and alcohol program to become a counselor because I wanted to help people. But the more I did it, I was like, you know what? I definitely don't want to do this. So then Arbonne was introduced to me in 2018 by my best friend, Bree. She was like, I think you would be so good at this. I was already doing stuff on social media. I was already working with smaller companies, just not on the level that I am now. And I told her flat out, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm never doing that again. Those things are pyramid schemes. They're scams. No one makes it out of them making a profit. I don't want anything to do with that. And she persisted and she kept saying, I feel like you'd be so good at this. Let's do this together. And I ended up going to one of her events that she had when she first started. We usually have launch parties. So when you start your business, we encourage you to have a launch party, kind of what you would do if you actually opened like a brick and mortar, where you invite your close family and friends and just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I ended up going and I pretty much sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm really miserable with what I'm doing. I'm working as a server. I have no clear path with what I'm going to do when it comes to my life. And I just decided I'm going to give this a shot. And I used the last amount of money in my bank account to buy our healthy living program and to start my business. And I really haven't looked back since.
Wow, that's so cool. And you know what? It's so funny because I used to go to a Herbalife shop here because I'm in Austin, Texas. And I was obsessed with it. Like you could get like the smoothies or the shakes and then the teas that they had. And I loved it because like I was always a chunky kid. So I was like, oh, this tastes good. And this is how I can lose weight. And I was always like really into health and fitness, like you're saying. So it's really interesting. I see the move from Herbalife to a company like Arbonne because at the end of the day, I feel like they're both focused on health and like helping people. And I think for me, that's why I was so drawn like during the pandemic that I was like open-minded to even joining Arbonne because I was so intrigued by the products that you guys sell. I mean, there's other ones, but like Monet example, I don't know. I'd rather just get my shampoo from my hairdresser or whatever, but I've always been someone that used like protein powders and stuff like that. I look at you on Instagram and you're just like kicking ass because you're doing 75 hard right now, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, that is tough. And I see you like you eat healthy, you talk the talk, you walk the walk because I see you sharing it on all your social channels.
Yeah, so growing up, honestly, I was not healthy. I was not a healthy kid. It was pretty average for my mom to take me. I have a twin sister. So me and my twin sister, she would drive us through McDonald's, Carl's Jr., Wendy's, like on our way home from school just because it was fast and convenient. So not that my parents aren't healthy, just it wasn't something that was a staple in our household. My mom didn't cook these terrible meals, but health wasn't something that was instilled in us. That was kind of something that I took on at an early age myself because I've been an athlete. I played softball growing up. I played volleyball. I ran marathons. I was in a running club. Like I've always been extremely active. My eating habits just weren't there. And I look back on it now and I wish they were because I feel like I would have performed as an athlete so much better. But no, it really wasn't. It was something that I adapted. I remember around like my 16th birthday, I started going to the gym. I started developing these healthier habits, I guess you could say, which in the long term, I think were kind of damaging just because I wasn't knowledgeable like I am now. But I think the fitness industry is constantly changing, where as something, 5 to 10 years ago may have been a staple then, it's not really now. And people are becoming more informed about the ingredients and the chemicals in our products and are more open-minded to making a better switch, which before Arbonne, I did not care about chemicals. I did not care about ingredients. I just cared about foods that were low calorie and things that were going to help me stay in shape. I didn't realize that a lot of these ingredients in these foods had toxic chemicals in them. That was kind of a journey that I took on my own. And just from being with Arbonne in this industry, learning over time kind of what goes into our personal care products, what goes into our nutrition products, what goes into just the things that we use every single day. I remember hearing like the average woman puts on 40 things, whether that's shampoo, whether that's skincare, whether that's makeup, whether that's nutrition products that we're ingesting, at least 40 things before they leave the house in the morning. And I'm like, that's a huge deal, because if you're constantly putting these products that are toxic, or you're ingesting them, or you're putting them on your skin, which your skin is your biggest organ. So anything that you're putting on your skin gets dissolved into your bloodstream extremely fast. So people don't realize that. And I was super naive and didn't realize that either until I became more aware through Arbonne. Like, there are cleaner alternatives out there. And I think sometimes, especially with Arbonne being a network marketing company, people are easily steered away because they just assume that because it's network marketing, we don't have quality products, which I thought that too. But until I actually tried them myself, I was like, wow, these are actually pretty well put together products at a very fair price point compared to what I would be getting at Ulta or Sephora or GNC, and they're not wreaking havoc on my body. So that's just where that started. But it wasn't until about 3.5, almost 4 years ago that I became really aware of the stuff that I was not only consuming food-wise, but the personal care products and the makeup and the skincare and all of those things, toothpaste and deodorant, all of those things you're putting on your body before you're leaving the house in the morning. They just have a huge impact, not only on your health, but your future health. Because if you're doing that every single day, think about how much your body has absorbed within like 40 years if you've been doing that for 40 years. So that was just really eye-opening to me. And I was like, you know what? I need to just become more knowledgeable and do my own research and kind of form my own opinion about this. And I'm going to share these products. And if people are interested, great. But I'm never going to be that person who is shoving a product down someone's throat or just trying to make a quick buck off of them. I personally do this because I want others to be able to feel confident in the products that they're using every single day.
Yeah, no, that's like what I said, Kelsey. That's why I really enjoy following you on Instagram, because I feel like you just are a person, end of the day, like living a healthy lifestyle and sharing it. And you can genuinely see that just on your social media. Like, you're always at the gym. I feel like you're always eating healthy. You see you and your boyfriend at the gym. And like, I even knew, like, this sounds so stalkerish, but welcome to 2022 when everything's on social media. I know that you have a twin. Her name's Courtney, right?
Yeah.
Has she has your twin ever been like, oh, I want to do Arbonne too? Just kind of seeing like the success that you have with it, or she just kind of got her own thing going on? I have like a little sister, and if she was like being really successful at an MLM, I think I'd be like, man, maybe that's something I want to do.
Yeah, it's really funny you say that, because when I first started, she was a hard no. I remember her sitting on my couch and being like, why are you doing this? These things don't work. And within the first 3 weeks, she became a consultant, and she worked the business for a little while, but ultimately she decided this is not a fit for me. She loves to work out. She loves to eat healthy, but she's not as passionate about it as I am, which I'm really proud of her, because she was the sister who went to the 4 years. She was the president of her sorority. She got good grades. She was like very hardworking in like the school setting, and now she just applied and got into nursing school. So she's going to start nursing school here in the fall because she wants to become an aesthetic nurse. So working like in a med spa or starting her own practice, which I'm like, great, that's amazing. I love that. But she is very passionate about that. And I think it's awesome because growing up, we were always identified as the twins, the twins, the twins. We were like put together as one person and we didn't have separate identities. And then when she went to school and she went to school in San Marcos, which is in North County, San Diego. And then I stayed up here in Orange County. So we were about an hour apart, but we had our own lives. And I feel like that was really awesome for us because we got to grow and have our own identities. And I found Arbonne and she found her passions and she had her friends and I had my friends. But we could come together and she's always been so supportive. She buys Arbonne for me every single month. She uses the products. She loves the products. And honestly, one day maybe she'll come around, but she sees my success and she's like, good for you. Be my sugar mama. Like, you can take care of me type of thing. But I think, and I mean this like coming from a good place when I say this, they like to say that everyone can do network marketing and everyone's cut out for it, but I just don't believe that's true. And I'm not saying that not everyone can make it work because they can, but I do believe there is a certain personality and a certain type of person that is successful at this. Not saying that people can't be, but you have to be willing to work hard and you have to be willing to work through the suck because there's going to be periods of time where things just aren't happening for you and you might be getting put down. You might be getting people who aren't interested. You might be getting just a lot of no's and you have to be willing to work through that. Just like any business, right? To start up in network marketing, it's extremely cheap compared to how much it would actually cost if you went and start a legit business, which not saying network marketing isn't a legit business, but it's a business within a business, right? Because I'm an independent contractor, but Arbonne is their own company. So technically they're kind of a standalone and I'm kind of a standalone. I just represent them. I didn't go and start Arbonne, right? But if I went to go and actually start my own business and I had a storefront and I had employees and all these things, like that costs on average $100,000 just to start. But for me, when I started my business, I paid $49 and then I bought our healthy living kit, which was like $250 at the time. So yeah, I spent around $300, but the amount of money I've made back in the last almost 4 years compared to that it's a huge difference. So I also never really started this to make a significant amount of money. I was in a lot of debt. I was terrible with managing my money and I just wanted an extra $500 a month to kind of float above water and not be so stressed out and to kind of set myself up for the future. I never thought that it was gonna be what it is today. And I truly believe that's because of my hard work and my dedication. And I treat this like a business. Like I show up every single day, whether that's on social media or not. I do the behind the scenes work. I do the stuff in the dark that is grueling and the stuff that sometimes you don't want to do. And I think that's why I've been able to be successful is because when things get in my way or when I'm feeling down or when I don't want to work, I suck it up and I do it because no one else is going to do it for me. So I think that people can be really successful at this. They just have to, number one, be doing it for the right reasons and they have to be willing to put in the work because it does not happen overnight. And you may look at people on social media and think that their life is perfect and they have it all together. And I'm just going to be honest, a lot of them don't. But I feel like we're kind of all just doing the best we can. And I think that's honestly what's important.
Yeah, that's so impressive because when I started doing Arbonne, like I said, I think I did it for 2 weeks. And I really do agree with what you're saying. It takes a certain type of person to do network marketing. Like for me, I signed up. I was so excited. I wanted to do the healthy living. It's a healthy living plan, right? A program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our 30
Yeah, the 30 days because you get like the full kit with the fizzies and the protein powder and all the things you need to really start your healthy living journey with Arbonne. And I think I got it and I just spazzed out because I had such insecurity about being part of an MLM. Like for me, I always associated it with the girls in high school who got pregnant and then were now trying to make money as like a stay-at-home mom, or it was like mean girls doing it that were like all of a sudden trying to be nice to me to like join their MLM. And so I think I got very thrown off. And at the end of the day, it is sales. So I just didn't even have the confidence to start messaging my friends being like, hey, I'm doing this. Like, will you buy from me? Because I was so mortified of what other people will think. And I think a lot of things in life just like that hold us back from things we could be accomplishing just by what other people think. And I will say, I think with network marketing, you do have to be on social media a lot. Like, you do have to be posting. And I don't even know what your marketing plan looks like, or if Arbonne pays for marketing for you guys, or if you're just doing the marketing yourself. But I will say, I know you market the heck out of yourself. You're always posting content on social media, and I'm sure that helps like attribute to your sales because you're marketing yourself, your knowledge of the brand, and it's making people want to go to you and buy from you.
Yeah, I can kind of attest to that. So before I actually started Arbonne, I was kind of branding myself already. And what I wanted to do was brand myself as Kelsey Garbe, not necessarily brand myself as Arbonne, but brand myself as me, and then have different niches and things that I'm passionate about kind of come under that umbrella. So health and fitness is something that I've always been passionate about, but that's not just the only thing. So I started using my social media to just interact and engage with people and just honestly like share my day-to-day life because I liked watching that from other people. And this was kind of before like TikTok and Reels and all of this. This is honestly almost 4 years ago, and I feel like a lot of stuff has changed since then. But I just started branding myself as me. I started becoming personable and replying to people and just honestly being someone that people like wanted to kind of interact with, because it's what you said a little bit ago where you didn't want to be messaging people, you didn't want to be doing all of that. I don't do that because I know what it felt like before I started network marketing, and it gave me the biggest ick because when people would message me, oh my gosh, I think you'd be so good at what I do, it felt like I was only benefiting them and they weren't like willing to help me and they weren't making this about me. I hate that. Like, I'm sorry, but you will never find me doing a reach out being like, hey, I don't do that. I do focus a lot on attraction marketing because that's something that I like to do. I like creating content. I like seeing what works. I like seeing what doesn't work. Some people are extremely successful without social media. But to be honest, I like the idea of social media because I can promote something in front of a wide audience instead of having to walk out in person. And to be honest, I'm very much an extroverted introvert. So if you put me in a setting where I don't know people, it takes me a long time to come out of my shell and kind of like put myself out there. But when it comes to social media, for some reason, I have no problem just showing up there and being my authentic self. But I have people on my team and people that I know who they're not social media savvy, but they can go out in person and like rock a conversation. And they have no problem doing that, where I'm a little bit more timid and shy when it comes to those things. Or I have people who love to host parties. There's so many different ways you can do it, but personally for myself and just kind of the way that the world's going, everyone's on social media, so I just kind of use it to my advantage. Now, is that the only way you can be successful? Definitely not. I know a lot of people who are successful in network marketing and they do not have a social media presence and they hardly ever post, but that's just kind of like what works for them. Yeah. But for me, I love creating like attractive content and I like being personable and I like showing up and engaging with my audience and sharing what I use. I'm someone who, if I don't like something, I won't share it. I don't care if you're paying me thousands of dollars. I'm not going to show up and share something that I do not like. It's just, I cannot do it. Everything that I personally share, whether I'm paid to share it or not, it's because I genuinely like it. And all the marketing, I do that myself. Arbonne's not paying for any of that. The content ideas, that's just stuff that's kind of came to my mind, or I've kind of seen another creator do it and I've liked it, so I put my own spin on it. But personally, like, social media is my MO and what I prefer to use to build my business, but it's not the only way that I do. I definitely do the do in person, and I get out of my comfort zone and I have those conversations with people, even though sometimes it's hard for me. Something I'm definitely working on, but I think we sometimes forget that there's a whole world outside of social media in the real world, and we need to use that to our advantage.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think we've both seen, because I'm 27, you're 25, like the impact that social media has had the last few years and the money that can be made there, especially during the pandemic, during COVID, when people were sitting at home. Did you see like an increase in people wanting to join your team?
Yeah. So honestly, I had my best year in network marketing in 2020, which I'm hesitant to say that because I know that was a really hard year for people. I had a really great year, and I think people realized, and not only myself, but a lot of people did. And I think people realized that it's better to have multiple streams of income and have some type of a plan B, because you just never know what's going to happen. You might get laid off from your job. You might have something happen to you where you can't work anymore. And I like to say, as long as my fingers are working or I can talk, like I can work, because in network marketing, the whole purpose of it is to create relationships and to serve others. Now, does everyone do that? And do they do it the ethical way? Not always. That's kind of the downfall, is anyone can join network marketing and there's not really screening or things put in place to kind of weed out the people who shouldn't be doing it. But usually they kind of fall off and it takes care of itself. But a lot of people give network marketing a really bad rep because they just do not do it right, or they're not coached, or they're not trained, or they just have no sense of business and sales, or have the personality. And that can be difficult because honestly, the majority of the people have a very bad taste in their mouth when it comes to network marketing. And it makes me sad because it honestly has changed my life. And it's really cliche to say, but I look at myself and I'm like, I have no idea what I would be doing if I didn't say yes to this. I honestly could not tell you. I don't know if I'd be in the place that I'm in now. I don't know if I'd mentally be in the place that I'm in now, because I've really come a long way. And I always like to say that Arbonne is a personal development business disguised as a health and wellness business, because I've done so much personal development since being in Arbonne, and it's really got me out of my comfort zone to grow as a person. And that's something that honestly I hold on to tightly, because it's hard to do that and find that in just a normal 9-to-5 type of setting, or so salary type of.
Because you're not like in a 9-to-5, what does your like day-to-day look like, and what does your team look like? Because you are pretty high up.
It's actually kind of funny that you asked that, because so my boyfriend in January, he started a new venture with a partner, and I was actually working there helping them out up until yesterday. So I was working pretty much 9-to-5, and honestly, it's not that I needed to do it. I was just really wanting to help him out, and I really liked just the dynamic that we had. But I realized, like, I'm not passionate about this, and I can't do something I'm passionate about. But even if you're paying me great money, I just was like, you know what, I don't want to focus on this anymore. So I let that door close. But honestly, that's been since January, so I kind of will just explain what my life looked like with that. So I got up early. I usually get up by 5 or 5:30. Especially with 75 hard, I had to be really strategic about my timing. So I would get up around 5:30. I would go do my first workout, which was usually a walk around my neighborhood. I'd come back, I'd do my morning routine, which was like my greens, my fizz, my protein. And then sometimes I would go do my second workout, or I would do my second workout after I got back. But then I would go to the office and I would do my work there. I would do my Arbonne stuff there too, because they had an office area. So, and I felt so much more productive doing it there than I do at home, because there's so many distractions here. But there was just daily non-negotiables that I would be doing, which would be like checking up on my team, planning events, because we like to have a couple of events a month, just community events where people can come and check out what we're doing, try the products, just meet one another. If we had calls scheduled, I'd make sure that I was on those, just having conversations with new people, with past clients, with new people who are interested in clients, getting samples sent out, just kind of doing like the daily do, creating content, which that is time consuming in itself. Like I would try to create as much as I could in one day, and then I would just post it periodically, like throughout the week, just because it can be a lot doing that every single day. And then I would do my reading. I would do the rest of the stuff for 75 hard. I'd usually come home, do some more work, just get prepared for the next day, have dinner. If there were calls, I would come home and do those. And then I would kind of wrap up my day. But I feel like a lot of it would be team building, connecting with my team, making sure that they're good to go, answering any of their questions, reaching back out to my past clients who maybe need to reorder, catching up on people who have shown interest or who just want to connect and do that. But I'm very strategic, at least I have been recently, with my screen time and how much energy and time I'm putting into my screen time, because it's easy to just get lost in the scrolling and then you're really not doing any work. So I've tried to be a lot more disciplined with that, just so I'm not wasting my time. Because if you look at your screen time on your phone, for me personally, I was like, okay, this is a very high number and I'm not getting a lot of work done. So I had to regroup and be like, look, this is how many hours I'm going to dedicate. Honestly, if I had to guess, probably 20 hours a week.
That's really good. I'm scared.
Really depends.
I don't look at my screen time because I think I'd be terrified right now, because I'm single. Like, I just got out of a relationship. So I'll like sit there and scroll and I'll think that I'm doing something productive. It feels productive because I feel like I'm like educating myself on different things and seeing all these things. But it's like, if you're not making money off of it or being strategic about how you're using social media, like, it's kind of a waste of time. Unless you're like planning out your posts, you're going to schedule, things that are actually going to benefit you from using social media. I feel like what I've seen with some of the higher up girls at some of these MLMs and Arbonne is that they have these followings and they've built these followings. And is that from being connected, do you think, with one another, or what do you think like attributes that? Because I think it does help with some of the girls' success, because you're building these large communities and then you're connecting with so many different people thanks to using social media.
I think it depends. So some of these girls, they may have attained their followers just by having a presence within the Arbonne community. For me personally, I built and I know a lot of girls on my team too, who were building their presence on social media long before Arbonne came into their life. And then Arbonne came into their life and they were just able to effortlessly share it. And their followers already knew, like, and trusted them. So they were like, you know what? I'm going to kind of check out what she's doing now. She's always been someone that I've liked, I've trusted, and anything she posted, I would check out. That was kind of how mine was. I didn't really gain followers from joining Arbonne, but I do know a lot of people who did, and they are very well known in like the Arbonne community or network marketing space. So they have a lot of eyes on them from people who are already in network marketing. But for me personally, I built my platform before I did Arbonne, and I think that did attribute to my success. But also, a lot of people who have joined my team or bought products from me aren't my close friends and family. They're people who I've maybe never met and have connected with on social media. And they just can relate to me, or they just kind of like what I'm doing, or they trust me. And honestly, same thing goes for me with other people. If I'm following someone and I like what they stand for, I like what they're about, I trust them, I think that they're a genuine person, I would way rather buy something that they recommend than from some celebrity. I'm not someone who's obsessed with celebrities. I really don't understand the hype about some of these celebrities. I don't think they really bring anything to the table. But then there might be a micro-influencer and they just are someone who's genuine. They're someone who's relatable. They're someone who is authentically themselves. I connect and vibe with that so much more than some celebrity who really doesn't even need your support, to be honest, compared to someone who really could use your support, like a micro-influencer or your friend who starts a business or a small business owner. They need your support so much more than some big celebrity. So I think it really just depends. Some of these girls, they have built their following since doing Arbonne or since doing network marketing because of who they are and people can relate to them. And then I also have people who have been building their influence way before they even started it, and they were able to just effortlessly plug the company into what they were already doing, and people were just confident in them and had no problem kind of like buying into the idea.
Okay, that's super cool. I guess when I started looking at Arbonne on social media, the girls that I were looking at were these, girls that had these huge followings, but it's like obviously not everyone has built it just from Arbonne. They could have had these followings before, and there's probably girls that are very successful at Arbonne that don't have as big of followings as some of these other girls that are doing it. So another question for you is like, how big is your team? Like, what does your team look like? How many women are you dealing with on a day-to-day basis? Are you running like trainings for them? What does that look like in terms of, I don't know, do you guys call it your downline or upline or?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know.
I just want to say something before I go into that, but I made a comment because I have people on my team and they don't have huge social media followings and they kind of get down on themselves. And I made a comment and I'm like, can you imagine if you, like, let's say you have 100 followers. Can you imagine if all 100 of those people showed up to a stadium or to your front door to listen to you with what you had to say, whether that's about Arbonne or about something else? That's a lot of people. Like, can you imagine if 100 people just knocked on your door right now and they were willing to listen to what you had to offer? That's a lot of people. People want to downplay this whole, oh, I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm going to be honest, sometimes having more followers isn't to your benefit because those people, maybe they don't relate to you. Maybe they don't think you give them the time of the day. Maybe they don't think that you're as personable as you actually are. Then I have people who don't have a lot of followers and everyone loves them and they're personable and they're amazing at what they do. I don't really think that has much of a benefit to you besides people thinking that it makes you more credible. Like if my Instagram got deleted tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, whatever, because I could still go out and create relationships and create connections with no problem at all. To answer your question, yes. So we have our nations. So my best friend, Bree, she's a national vice president, which is the top level in Arbonne, which is technically a nation. So her and then the other nations like within our organization that are in this area that we all work together. So we have weekly calls. We have monthly events where we put them on and we do recognition for people who have promoted. It's a way for people to come and check out the community. It's a way for people to connect with each other. As far as my downline, there's a lot. I honestly couldn't give you a number because I have like my direct team. So people that I personally brought into the business, and they have people that they personally brought into the business, and then they have people that they personally brought into the business. And then people they personally brought into the business. And I have some really awesome rock stars on my team who have brought in a lot of people. So if I had to guess, like since I've started my business the last 4 years, how many people have joined my team? Maybe they're not around anymore. Maybe they still are. Since my yes and all the yeses beneath me is probably like at least 2,000 people. Maybe a little bit more.
That is
but
so
that's
cool.
that's not a direct reflection of like me. That's like my whole organization of people who came beneath me because I have some really awesome leaders on my team who have probably a big chunk of that number come from their success line. And honestly, it's honestly probably more than that because I had, so here's another funny thing is people tend to think like Arbonne or network marketing is a pyramid scheme because people are below you, they can't pass you. In Arbonne, people can pass you. So I actually sponsored a girl, my first ever consultant, in 2018. She sponsored someone who sponsored someone who sponsored someone. And this girl, she is honestly a freaking powerhouse. She came into my business and just like blew it up. Like, so I don't know that I'm allowed to say the number just for like regulations of Arbonne, but she came and she blew it up. She blew past me. She blew to the top level in the company in 4 months.
Wow.
So that's a lot of volume. That's a lot of people that she was helping. And that is considered my downline, but she passed me. And people are like, oh, well, it's a scam. It's a pyramid scheme. I'm like, it's not. It's fair game. Like someone who came in after me passed me. And it's because of their hard work and because of their network and because of how hard they were willing to work. And that's just honestly, at least how Arbonne is. We are completely sales based. So we don't make any money and nothing is based off of recruiting. It's all based off of sales. So we get paid a percentage of the sales that our team and we do at the end of the month. And then we have our personal sales that we get paid out every single week from like our direct sales to our clients. So we don't have like, you need to have one person at one level and you need to do this much. We don't do any of that. It's all just strictly based off of sales, which I like a lot better because I think that's more of a fair game compared to having to do all of this one person here, one person that, that just kind of gets too confusing. It's just like, we want to sell the products. We want to help people get healthy. If they want to start a business, that's great. If they don't, on to the next type of thing.
Yeah. I think when I was on the website buying stuff, there's like is it a premier subscription? I can't remember. There's something. It's like if you sign up, you get discounted pricing on the products, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 3 different options. So you can become a consultant, which is someone who can do the business. You can become a preferred client, which is someone who just buys the product at a discount. So it's kind of like an Amazon or Costco membership. You pay a $29 fee. It's not something that's every month. It's just a once a year $29 fee. And then you get 20 to 40% off of our whole entire website. And you're just a preferred client. So you log on, you order whenever you want. There's no auto shipment. There's no monthly minimums. There's honestly none of that weird stuff. It's just like you log on and purchase when you want, and they ship it straight to your house. Another thing that I love is we have a 90-day money-back guarantee. So let's just say that I bought this bronzer and I used it all and I hated it. And I was like, you know what? It didn't do what I wanted. Arbonne would literally refund you, or they would give you a new product of your choice as long as it's within the 90 days. So you have the preferred client, which a lot of people do that. I recommend that because you can also just be a retail client where you buy the products at a retail price, but you don't get any of the benefits. Like a preferred client, you get free shipping, you get free gifts, you get free stuff during your birthday month. There's just so many more perks compared to just being like a wholesale client. And it's awesome because we don't have like monthly minimums or the auto ship. Like some network marketing companies, they like lure you in because they have auto ship and you don't realize it. We don't do that.
Oh, no. Yeah. I do that stuff all the time I accidentally sign up for stuff and then it auto ships and I'm like, oh, no. So that's nice.
No, that's the worst.
Yeah. What do you think, or I guess maybe what the top selling product is at Arbonne? I know for me personally, when I was using the products, I definitely liked the fizz. I think everyone's pretty obsessed with the fizz. And then protein powders. I mean, you can't go wrong with the protein powder that Arbonne sells. I feel like, in my opinion, it's like gluten-free, vegan. Like it's way better in my opinion than like a whey protein, which is going to upset your stomach and kind of make you feel heavy and not good.
Yeah. So if I had to guess, which I know this is probably the correct answer, it would be fizz. I think our healthy living kit would probably be the window ticket item that when people hear about Arbonne, that's what they know it for, which is crazy because we actually started as a skincare company over 42 years ago. They recently added nutrition within the last 10 years, and I feel like now people really know it for the nutrition. That's why I got into it. I'm not a skincare junkie. I don't really care about makeup. Like, I obviously use those things, but nutrition was what I was interested in. So I would definitely say the fizz. I would definitely say the protein, which I love our protein because it's free of like the top allergens. So yeah, it's gluten-free, dairy-free. There's no refined sugar. It has a full amino acid profile and it keeps you full. And I was someone who would be in GNC and like the nutrition stores often trying to find a good protein. And those proteins were literally wreaking havoc on my gut because I have gut issues. I am sensitive to gluten. I'm sensitive to dairy. So it's been nice to have stuff that I know I can use and I'm not worried about having any type of reaction to it. But I would definitely say the fizz, I feel like, is our top seller. And then like the protein and just like the nutrition products as a whole. And then skincare and makeup and all that stuff kind of come after.
I forget you guys sell like skincare and makeup, like everything. And you guys have like a men's line too.
Yeah, we have, honestly, I think we have over 500 products. I know that for sure. It honestly might even be like close to 550. And I started with the nutrition and I had no money when I started Arbonne. I think I had $20 left in my bank account after I started my business. And that was a scary place to be, but I knew that I really liked these products. And then as I started to slowly run out of like my old stuff, I was replacing it with Arbonne. I was, getting the makeup, which honestly, right now we're doing this buy one, get one free, but our makeup is very fairly priced. If you go to Sephora, Ulta, they're pretty expensive. So it's not breaking the bank and it has cleaner ingredients because we ban over 2,000 toxic and harmful chemicals in the United States. Bans like, I think a little over 30 of that. So That's kind of eye-opening, but yeah, we have a men's line, we have a baby line, we have like seriously everything. And I know they're just going to continue to roll out stuff because they want to be a brand and a company that is purposeful to the entire person and not just focused in one niche, which is also why I love this. And it's so smart as a business because might have someone who wants makeup, but they don't want nutrition. You might have someone who wants hair care, but they don't want makeup, or they don't want skincare. So we have something for everybody, which is awesome and was what I was looking for when it came to pairing up with a company, because I wanted something that was versatile and that wasn't just kind of stuck to one niche.
Yeah. And I think we have to talk about the white Mercedes, because I think that's a lot of girls associate the white Mercedes with Arbonne.
So when you promote to the regional vice president level, which is where I'm at, Arbonne gives you an $800 a month cash bonus. So they don't own the car. They don't get the car for you. They don't send you the car. You have to go get it on your own. And they have a fleet program with Mercedes. So you have to do the minimum amount of sales a month, even to be at this level. You have to perform and do that, and then you get the $800 on top of your paycheck. So I went and leased my car, my first car I leased, and then I would just use that $800 every month to pay for my car payment and for my insurance. My newer car is a little bit more expensive, so I use that to pay my car payment and then my insurance. So at the regional vice president level, you get $800 a month. At the national vice president level, which is the one above, you get $1,000 a month. It has to be a white Mercedes. They don't care if it's old. They don't care if it's new. They don't care if it's leased. They don't care if it's bought. But to get the cash bonus, you do have to have, to get the Mercedes cash bonus, you do have to have the white Mercedes, but you can still earn cash bonuses at each level without doing the car. There's different bonuses. That's just the one that is for the Mercedes. So they pay me that every single month on top of my paycheck. I just use that for my car. If I ever decided to stop doing Arbonne, I would just take on that payment myself. The dealership wouldn't come take my car or anything like that because it's my car. It's under my name. It's not under Arbonne. It's just an incentive that they've had and that you can take advantage of if you reach that level.
That's really cool. I mean, I love your car. It looks amazing. It's so cute. Do you have to like maintain a certain level for them to keep issuing that check?
So to get to the regional vice president level, so there's qualifications. So each promotion usually runs on a 2 to 3 month qualification. So you have to qualify with 40,000 in team volume to even qualify for the level. And then you have to close out with 96,000 in volume over 2 months. So what that looks like would be doing 40,000 in the first month and then 56,000 in the second. And then to maintain your title every month, your team has to do around 40,000 in volume. But it's not like if you don't hit it 1 month, you automatically demote. They make it so it's actually not like that. So you have this thing called a performance account. So you accumulate almost like money into that performance account. So let's say that you do the minimum of the 40,000 in volume, but you surpass that. Like, let's say your team does 100,000 in volume, but you only needed to do the 40. The remainder of that 60,000 goes into your performance account. So let's say you have a slower month, which it happens. They just pull from that performance account to cover you for the remainder of what you need. So it's honestly pretty hard to lose your title. It's not like some of these other companies where if you miss it 1 month, you demote. It's not like that. But yeah, you do need to maintain that. And to be honest, like most people are doing at this level are doing way more than that. And if they're not, it's usually because they're not working their business anymore, or they just maybe just aren't putting enough energy in it. But most people that I know at this level and above, they have way bigger businesses than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's so nice that they provide like a safety net too. That would be kind of scary,
Yeah.
You know, if you got this really nice car and then you're having to make the car payment. So the fact that they give you that safety net, I feel like, because I always wondered that, like, what happens if you can't pay the car payment 1 month because you are the one responsible for buying the car, leasing the car. But thankfully they set their reps up for success, you know?
Yeah, so there's 4 levels of management in Arbonne. There's district manager, there's area manager, there's RVP, and there's NVP. So as a district manager, you're on average making like $500 to like $1,500 a month. At the area manager level, you're making anywhere between like, honestly, $1,500 to like $4,000 a month. And at the regional vice president level, you're making anywhere between like $5,000 to $15,000 a month. And then at the MVP level, on average, you're making $22,000 plus. So at that area manager level, which is the second level, Arbonne will will your business to anyone that you want. So say something happens to you, you can now will your business to kids, to your husband, to a charity, to whoever you want. Obviously, like, that has to go in your will. They're just not automatically going to do it. But they do have that there for you if that's something that you're interested in doing, which I think is awesome, because a lot of these businesses, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, if you stopped working, will probably still run themselves. Now, they make it so you constantly have to be adding new and constantly be building your team, because it's not fair just to write off of everybody's success. I don't think it's fair. That's just my own personal opinion. Other people may not agree with me, but I like that they offer that because it does have that safety net there. And with the Mercedes cash bonus, I forgot to mention, if you don't hit that number, the payment just goes down. So it can go all the way down to $200. So let's say you don't hit the basic minimum, it'll go down to 600, then it goes on to 400, then it goes out to 200 just for that month being. So if you don't hit that 40, it's not like they don't give you any money at all. They just give you a little bit less. So it'd be like 600, or it'd be 400, it'd be 200. But honestly, the average Mercedes, now they're on average probably, I don't know. My other car payment was still decent, but like my last car payment, I think it was like $500. Yeah. But I had a brand new car. I know people who have older cars and they don't have a payment. I think where we have been priced as far as the bonus is enough to be sufficient to cover the payments. I've never seen anyone be like, oh, I can't afford unless you have a G-Wagon, which there's a lot of people who do. Those are not cheap. Obviously, like, you would be paying out of pocket for the rest of that payment. But most of us, our cars are covered by the total.
I feel like that's such a good incentive too. It reminds me almost of Mary Kay with the Cadillac. Yeah. But I think it's,
and you don't have to do the car, which some people, because here's the thing, like, I know some people, they're like, oh, it's not smart. Like, I don't want to go into debt, which I totally understand that. I think you need to sometimes be honest with yourself and be like, can I actually afford this? Like, is this something that I need in my life, or is it something that I want in my life? Now, I think it's awesome that they give everyone the opportunity to pick, but there are some people out there that this just may not be a fit for them. They may not have the credit. They may not be in a place where they can take on this thing. And like, you just need to be honest with yourself. Like, no one in the community is going to judge you because you're a VP and you don't have a Benz. Like, we honestly don't care. I think it's best to be smart and choose wisely. And if you think that you cannot suffice the payments on your own, if you lost your title, then I would not recommend obviously getting the car. But if you know that you can afford that, and if you are in the place where if something were to happen that you can, then I would say go for it. And personally, I needed a new car. So I had a 2013 Honda Elantra when I started. And I remember I was driving to San Diego for our monthly event, and my axle broke on the freeway, which was the scariest experience ever. And I was like, I need to get a new car. And my dad, who, by the way, he was not supportive of me at all in the beginning, because he just was like, no one's ever successful at those. He was like, you need to go get a degree. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was like, no. I actually hid Arbonne from him for a while because I didn't want his opinions, his negative opinions, to take me out of the game. But he was very against me getting the car. He was like, Kelsey, this is not a smart idea. This is not a smart move. I don't think that you need to be doing this. I don't think you're responsible enough. And it was a tussle with each other for a while. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, like, I'm going to be fine. I want to do this. I'm going to be fine. I need to get a new car. And it all worked out. And I have my second one now because my lease was up. So I had to get a new car, which getting a new car in this market was not fun. But it all worked out. And now he's like on board, and he always like, how's it going? Like, how's everything? And my parents and family are very supportive, which, I mean, every parent wants the best for their kids. And I understand where their worries lied when I first started, but I've been able to prove to myself that they have nothing to worry about. I kind of like take pride in being able to like provide for myself and not having to ask for money, because I know how to work hard. And if I feel like I am struggling, that just means I need to be working harder, and I need to be someone who's open to adding multiple streams of income, because I didn't need to go get that 9 to 5, but I wanted to have more money coming in. I live in Southern California. It's not cheap here. My rent for this place, which this place is not bad, but it's expensive. So it's like, I need to be bringing in money. Important to have multiple streams of income, at least in this day and age, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I recently just got a new car, and my car payment, I was a little worried about it, but it just pushed me to work harder and make more money almost, if that makes sense. But that's just
love that.
That's kind of how I work. So, it's to each their own, but sometimes if you go and get the things you want, it's going to push you even harder to hold on to them and work hard for what you want. And I just think you're so impressive. And obviously, end of the day, you're an entrepreneur and you work really hard at your business. At the end of the year, do you guys have like an Arbonne like meetup, like conference or anything like that?
Yeah, so our conference is actually in July this year. So with COVID, things kind of got scrambled. So the first one I ever went to was in 2019, and it was in May, and it was in Vegas. So at the MGM Grand, they do this huge ordeal where every consultant, if they obviously decide to come, can come, and it's like this awesome experience. And then in 2020, it was virtual because of COVID. And then in 2021, it was also virtual, but a lot of us went to Scottsdale and we kind of put on our own. And then this year, they're having it in July, so in just a few months, which I'm super excited about because it's awesome to be around other just network marketers and people who get it, and the team bonding and the experience. And honestly, Arbonne is such an amazing company, and I'm not just saying that because I'm with them, but I'm saying that because they really do care about their people, and just the way that they have kind of maneuvered, and just they listen to us, and they're very open-minded, and they are willing to change for their consultants if we don't agree on something. So I really love that because they really are for the people. They really are for, us being successful too, and not just the company being successful, which is something that I'm proud to be a part of, because there are a lot of companies out there that are money hungry and they will push their reps and consultants to the side. But with us, I feel like we're the spotlight, and they really do shine a light on us to make sure that not only we're happy, but our clients are happy, and then the company as a whole is on the right track. So that's in July. I'm really excited about that because it's really awesome to just be around that energy. It's very motivating for sure.
Yeah, it looks like so much fun. Like, it looks like you guys all get to meet up with your teams and you get to dress up, and it looks just like a lot of fun and a really great community to be around. And I'm just so thankful that you came on my podcast, and I really find you so inspiring with everything you're doing with health and fitness and Arbonne. And I really do think sky's the limit for you. So I'm just so impressed with you, Kelsey. Where can people find you on social media, and where can they join your team or buy from you if they're interested in learning more about Arbonne?
So I'm pretty active on Instagram. My Instagram handle is just Kelsey_Garbe. And I have all my links posted on there in my bio. You can personally message me. I get back to all of my messages. So if you extended a hand and reached out to me, I will totally connect with you and get back to you. You can find me on TikTok, same username, Kelsey_Garbe, which I'm just kind of getting in the groove with that as well. And then I'm also on Facebook, which that's not like my main source of connection. Instagram definitely is, but you can find me on any of those platforms. And if you reach out, I definitely will be open to having a conversation with you. I would be open to sharing the opportunity and the products. Honestly, whatever you're looking for, I can definitely find something that would serve you.